Hi, I'm Desi. I'm an artist and a songwriter.
And I'm Keely. I'm a producer, artist, songwriter. I produce as Dresage.
And this is a commentary of the EP we made together, La Medicina.
Yes, we want to talk through it because we made it by way of talking and really working through some tough things. So we figured there's a lot to talk about with each song.
Yeah, and we wanted to share it with all of you because I think a lot of the conversations we had are very important and painful. And I healed a lot through having them.
Same.
And so we wanted to kind of bring you guys in on that.
And there are also conversations that I have been having with all of my friends recently. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody I talk to, especially in creative fields, are feeling a lot of this like helplessness and like, what do I do with what I add to the world? So let's get into it.
Let's dive in. Whatever we're doing, we're figuring it out as we go.
We're doing our best.
How are you?
So good.
Yeah?
No complaints.
Really?
No.
Me neither.
It's February 1st. This has been the longest January of our lives. Yeah.
Just to let you guys know a little bit of like how we met and how this project started. We got put in a session. I think my manager, I don't even know how it happened.
I had worked with a different client of his, and it's funny because a few like maybe the few months leading up to when he had reached out to me and mentioned you, I had seen your TikToks and I had seen like
really?
Yeah, the ones that you were, I can't remember what the song is, but it's about like protecting Libby basically.
Make It Home.
Okay, yeah, that one. And I kept being like,
it's like,
yeah, and I was like, this is queer talk. I'm on it. Like and also TikTok, fun fact, was like a lot of us, I think, during the pandemic basically was like, hey, bitch, you're gay.
Oh, yeah.
And so my algorithm at that point was like feeding me all the things. And so I saw you.
Were
and
you
I was
not like out yet?
No.
Really? Oh, just so you guys know, we are both very queer.
Yes. Queer as fuck.
Very queer.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I know. No, it was like early.
If I was on your algorithm.
Honestly. And you were once I knew this and was out.
Yeah,
but like I feel like Fletcher started like peeking in 2020 and I was like, this is weird. I'm in a relationship that's dying and killing me slowly. But anyways, yeah. So TikTok was sort of like my first intro to you, and I like loved that song, and I just think that even that song and that message is like very relevant still.
Yeah.
It's not ever going to be irrelevant, I don't think, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I feel like we wrote these songs and then we were like, well, maybe Kamala will win. Maybe naively we were like, maybe these songs won't be applicable, and maybe like it's not a huge rush to get them out because I think originally we were, well, I don't know if it was like we weren't planning around the election, but once he won, we were like, oh no.
We started this project like without knowing that we were starting this project. And in our first session, when we met, I came here and Keely was like, hey, like, how are you? Nice to meet you. And I was like,
walking corpses.
I was like not mentally well
at
all. And I just done a lot of work on myself and like reworking my relationship with music and trying to be like, come into sessions where I'm at. Because if you're an artist, I think that one of our biggest jobs is to be honest.
Yeah.
Because if you felt it, then other people feel it.
For
and
sure.
Your job is to like help people kind of feel their emotions. So like I came into the session, you're like, how are you? And I was like, honestly, dude, I know we just met, but I'm really not doing well. And you were like, oh, what's up? And we just like started talking about the state of the world. And this was like a month into everything happening in Gaza.
Yes. I mean, we had been...
Right? It was about a month.
I think it
was
was
like
maybe
November 2023.
I think it was November or December. So it was like 1 to 2 months. We had been seeing babies blown up on our screens every day.
Yeah.
It was horrific. It continues to be horrific.
Right.
But that was like really a height where you and I were both like...
very unwell. And
what?
Just like
what?
Couldn't even begin to process what we've been seeing and dealing with.
Yeah.
And didn't know what like the point of being an artist was at the time.
Well, right, because and I mean, I felt this even in, the fires we recently had in LA. It was like, oh my God, like art is not a survival product. Art is not a necessity, but it actually is in like the healing and the processing stages that come after the initial survival.
Yeah.
But I think that we were really struggling with that, and we both just like It's funny because I feel like sometimes I can be in a session and I can go there and the other person is like,
It's like, whoa.
the other person's like, anyways, and I just like bring the whole mood down. And I was just like, oh, fuck yeah.
We met each other.
We're on this tip. And
we like locked in and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, she's a real one.
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to get into it.
And I'm just really interested in like telling the truth. Like, what the fuck is the point if you're not doing that?
Yeah.
And
that's our job as artists.
Yeah.
I really think it is.
And it made us feel better after writing this song.
It was very cathartic.
Because we didn't need to sugarcoat it. We didn't need to like, there was no it's going to be okay. I mean, it kind of ended up that way. But like that first day, we only wrote.
We wrote La Medicina.
We wrote the verse and the chorus, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
We came back and did the
and
second
the outro.
Verse. Right, we did the outro.
Yeah.
So.
Which we'll dive into like all of those lyrics and everything. But that was our way of trying to deal with.
Yeah. And also
trying to start processing everything that's happening.
And I remember like a main thing that you also brought to that session was that you were really interested in starting to sing in Spanish more and really like discover that part of your heritage. Yeah. And I remember you mentioning like your brujaness. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get into that for sure. Because that was a really cool thing, was like letting myself lean into that and be as Latina as I wanted to. But yeah, I think that was the beginning of something that neither of us really knew that we both needed. And then we wrote these songs. 2 of the songs I wrote with other people, and I didn't even know at the time that this would all come together as like a collective EP. And then the election happened.
Yeah.
And I hit up Keely, I think it was like that night or the day after, and I was like, hey.
Unfortunately, these are relevant songs.
Yeah, because like late summer, early fall, things were feeling really good.
Yeah. Once Biden was out of there, we were like, oh,
Biden was out. Brat summer was in. Like, I felt positive about the future in a way that I really haven't in such a long time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, like maybe we can put these on hold. Like, and I think we were both like kind of dissociating a little bit because the songs are heavy. Like there's a lot.
Yeah.
So I was personally kind of relieved to be like, oh, maybe we don't. Maybe the world doesn't need this.
Yes.
Maybe we're like moving somewhere positive.
Yeah.
And then election night happened, and I texted you or like sent you a voice note, and I was like, I think we have to do this.
We're gonna need to get these songs ready to go.
I think we have to do this, and then we have been killing ourselves the past couple months.
Oh yeah.
To get this done.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, because that would have been early. That was November 4th. So we then. Yeah, today's February 1st, and we just sent the last one to master. Rage is out now, and it's been great, having a great response, which is so exciting to see. And really, we were like, it needs to come out. Something needs to come out for the inauguration, and that was what we decided Rage would be. Yeah,
and I felt very strong that this whole project needed to come out at this time, or like around this time, just because like I am afraid that people are going to kind of dissociate, myself included. Like, it's so hard to deal with everything that's happening, and it's so easy to just move on and be like, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. Let me just not pay attention to anything and then move on. And I think that that's something that's probably going to happen in the next couple months because there's so much scary stuff happening that it's easy to just shut it all out and look forward. So I was like, we need to get this out while people are feeling and try to like form some sense of community and just like let other people know that they're not alone in these feelings.
Yeah, well, because there's not a lot of doing right now, unfortunately.
No.
There's so much being done to us every day.
Paralyzing.
It's paralyzing. And so now it's like, I do think that we're in this stage where we did all of we worked as hard as we could to get her to win, and that's just not the way the country went. And
that's devastating.
And it's devastating. And I think that we're all really just like, okay, we're turning inward. We're turning to our people. Like, we are trying to remember that our phones are not reality. They're not community. Like, our community is people that we love and share an experience with in a room together.
Yeah.
And for us, like that is usually centered around music or art of some form. That's how we gather in LA. And I think that that's where we're at, where it's like we can't do anything to change what's happening, unfortunately, right now.
I think things will come about where, I don't know if it's through community building, or I think that's a big part of it, but I think that action items will kind of come about, and we'll kind of figure out how to move forward and how to like fight against everything that's happening. But right now there's so much overwhelm, and it's just really hard to be processing like every day everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And I think this project was so important because I like to write songs when I feel like I have an emotion and I don't have a song to listen to about that emotion. If I'm like, has that been explored?
Yeah.
Because that's how I process, is both through writing and listening to music.
Yep.
And I felt like, I don't think that people make protest music enough anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, there is protest music, but protest and pop used to go hand in hand. Like in the 60s, like those were the same thing.
But we have been so, like, pop has been so commodified to be like, make it the song of the summer, make it fun, and it can go with an ad. And like, because we are just trying to survive out here as artists. Like, no shade.
We have to pay our bills.
Absolutely. Like, but I think that, yeah, there hasn't been a lot of actually saying the thing.
Yeah.
I've seen Kaylani do it actually recently.
Which is amazing.
Which is really cool.
She was like very inspiring to me in this whole process and in like making my sweaters to support Palestine and like send money to Palestine and like all of that. She was a huge inspiration for me. I was like, oh, these are ways that I can do that.
Yeah.
So I think that also made me realize, I was like, oh, if I'm seeing another artist do that and it's inspiring me to do something, like, can I inspire other people?
Totally.
And I think that's a really important aspect of this, is like showing by example.
Yep.
And then if even like one or two other people are like, oh, this inspires me and I can do that, like, that's how action happens.
Yeah.
That's how we like move through whatever all of this is.
It was cool to see, like, we had our 2 songs we wrote, La Medicina and Flowers Are Blooming in Antarctica, which were, I think, the 2 first sessions we did, where it was
which
like,
is crazy.
I know, because also during La Medicina, you're like, I have this concept for a song. It's called Flowers Are Blooming in Antarctica. And I was like, let's go.
I knew
Doom
that
Pop.
first session. Doom Pop is in. Doom Pop is in 2025.
That's where we're at.
But I knew in that first session, because I had written the first verse and the chorus to Flowers, and then I was like, I was trying to find a home for it, and I knew like the lyrics, and you guys will find as you listen to this EP, like the lyrics are really very intentional and very intense. And so I was like, I need a partner in this song to make this like really as impactful as possible.
Yeah.
So I knew in that first session, writing La Medicina and just having the conversations we were having, I was like,
yeah,
she's the one. And I told you just the title and you were like, we need to write that.
We're going to write that.
So the first 2 songs we ever wrote together
Bummers.
were big bummers.
But beautiful. They're so beautiful.
Gorgeous.
And I am such a melancholic person generally. So I really like to explore the sort of like underbelly of an experience, but also like finding this like sadly beautiful part of it, which I think is
such a part of like the sad, beautiful, melancholy existence. Like, it's such a part of everybody's lived experience.
And it's also just so what it is to be an artist. You're like, oh, it's like that Casey Musgrave song, happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah.
It's that. It's like, oh, this is beautiful and also like,
and also devastating.
and also, or this is devastating and also there's some beauty in it.
Yeah.
You know, the fires were devastating. And also, I've never seen our community come together like that before.
Absolutely.
And it's like, it's I don't know, it's cliche at this point to say, but it's like, really, you cannot know joy without pain. You can't know light without dark. And it's like, it's just that duality that is, I think, the entire human experience.
Totally.
And a lot of people don't want to look at the dark part of it.
That's what I was just going to say.
I think like we just have to, because we're artists.
We were like, let's dive into that. Like, let's dive into the gross, scary, sad, like really intense feeling and like
uncertain.
Yeah, because I also think like an artist can be a little bit of like a North Star in a way. Like this stuff was so heavy to write and I'm sure to produce for you and for me to be making content about this every day, like it weighs on me.
Yeah.
It weighs on me so heavily, but to know that there's people out here listening and there's people that are like, oh, I'm not alone. That to me makes all of the stress and like the darkness or the heaviness, I guess, of making this project so worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Totally, because it has made me feel better every time I'm working on it. And I think really to write it, like I think that we started in bad places and we came out at the end of the day in a better place. And like that is literally what creativity does for you and what art does for people. So
I feel things so heavily to a point where it will cripple me. Like, and that's where I was at when we first met. I was like devastated. I couldn't do anything. Like it just weighed at me so heavily. And then that day we literally had a conversation about like, how do we turn that feeling into action? Like what can I do? So I started doing this really heavy work of where is my power in something like this? Like I think everybody has a job that they can do, or they have a role that they can fill.
Yeah.
In times of like protest and activism. And I was like, okay, like I don't have a lot of money. I'm an artist. We don't get paid a lot. I don't have a lot of money, so I can't like offer the financial support that I'd want to. I'm not great at organizing. Like there's people who are so good at like organizing protests and all of these things. That's not my strength.
Mutual aid stuff.
Yeah. I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I have a voice and I have a platform.
Yeah.
And so I started doing the like work of what can I do? And through this past like year and a half, like working together, I feel like I've really found it.
Mm-hmm.
And without this EP, I don't think I would have found any of it at all.
Well, because I remember also you coming in and being like, I'm exploring the duality of bad bitch, sad bitch.
Yeah.
And you're like, I am sad bitch right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me too, it's just like, you can't fake it. I cannot fake bravado and like hype and song of the summer vibe.
And we shouldn't have to.
No, we shouldn't have
artists.
to. Yeah, but I think also, I remember too at that point, I mean, I was really feeling like, I don't actually know if I want to keep doing music. This
Same.
feels abusive and bad and pointless when everything else is fucking crumbling. And I think that over the last year, things haven't gotten better, but I think that my mindset has evolved a bit, and I've realized really how powerless I am except for my voice, and my voice is my one of one. Yours is one of one, you know? So
yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I went on my rant, but that's like the point I was trying to get to is through this whole process and through the past year, I've changed my perspective. I've changed my mindset. And now I feel more empowered to like take action.
Yeah.
And when I feel the really, really heavy feelings that like in the past used to cripple me and make it so I literally could not get out of bed, I would be so weighted down by everything. Now it's like, how do I take that emotion and turn it into something that's going to help somebody? Even if it's like making a video that's like supporting or talking about a topic that's not discussed, or going and writing a song.
Yeah.
That's
And you're helping yourself first, which is like, you can't do anything unless you're like taking care of you first.
Absolutely.
You know? And I think remembering that this can be a salve for the totally untreatable wound of what it is to be a human now in these times.
And I think that that's like a really good takeaway, I guess, because I have so many conversations with people about this where they're like, what do I do? Like, I feel so helpless. What do I do? And if you take one thing away from this podcast and EP, it's that we all have a role. You do not have to do it all. You cannot do it all.
No, not possible.
It's literally, I've tried. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Find what you're good at. Find what you can do and do that. That's it. That's all we can do.
Yep.
And that's amazing, because the more we build community, the more we're all doing our roles, the better we're all going to be. Like, the better off we're all going to be.
Yeah.
That's hard sometimes to be like, oh, I want to do it all. I want to help everybody. I feel so crazy. Like, just doing this one thing isn't going to change the world. But if we're all doing our one thing,
well,
that
and
can change the
if
world.
that one thing is leading with like love and empathy, like it is wild to me. All of these, like, you know, Trump is on this tirade of executive orders and erasing whole humans' existences and basically just taking every opportunity for like humanity and empathy and just like twisting the knife. And I don't know. I had this thought last night where I was like, how much hate is in a body that is doing that kind of thing?
How much hate can you hold in a body?
Honestly, and I think like I don't know. There's just one counter, and it's like you just have to work from a place of love and like care for other people and empathy for other people's experience that you don't have. Because like, Jesus Christ, I don't know how somebody can be so evil.
I don't either. And
it's not just one person either. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that we've both found from this entire project. I wanted to call it La Medicina because that first song, we figured out that it was like love and empathy and community is all we have sometimes. And right now that's all we have, but that's such a powerful thing. Yeah. That's huge.
It is.
And so I lost my train of thought. ADHD. Hi, I'm Desi. What was I talking about?
Empathy, love.
Yeah.
Need them. Good stuff.
They're good and you should have it. So, okay, enough yapping. Well, we're going to yap a lot more. You guys know who we are. Let's dive into La Medicina, the first song.
Yeah.
You guys take a listen and we'll see you on the other side.